Hello, welcome. If you're joining, please like and subscribe. Okay, so yesterday, Dr. Fred Matiang'i went on Citizen TV, The Explainer, and he made it known his intentions to run for president in 2027. And that's what we are discussing today. Yes, we knew that he wants to run, but he went on Citizen and he had a sit down with Sam Gituku, and they had a conversation. Okay, and that is what I want us to talk about today. Would you vote for Fred Matiang'i in 2027? We are also going to have a look at the potential candidates for 2027. What are their credentials and what have they done so far? Remember, it's very important that you vote, basically, right? Because when you vote, that's when you make your voice heard, right? And I remember we were talking about the protests, Juicy. I did a live, I did a few videos on the protest when we covered the protest, and then we covered what happened after the protest. And this is just a continuation of this conversation. If you're joining, please like and subscribe. And the question is, who would you vote for in 2027, right? Yesterday, Matiang'i made his intentions known to run for 2027, right? And I want us to take a look at the candidates that we know right now that are running for, who are planning to run in 2027, and two, what are their credentials? How long have they been doing politics? What are they known for? And do they have a good shot, right? We know of Matiang'i. We know of Peter Salasya. We know of Morara Kibaso. We know of Kalonzo Musyoka. We know of Wamalwa. We know of President Ruto. I'm sure he will want to reclaim his seat. And we also know of Raila Odinga. Okay, so those are the 7 that I'm going to be looking at. If I've missed anyone, you can tell me. Let's begin this conversation. Let's look at the credentials of these leaders, right? Remember, I'm not giving any opinion on who to vote for or who not to vote for. This conversation just came up yesterday, and after last week protest, I felt it was important for us to get into this discussion, because if we are talking about making our voices heard or changing our country, basically, the best way, us as Kenyans, the best way we can do it is through our vote. And of course, we are in 2025. We still have 2 years to go, but we have to get this conversation started now, especially among us young people, right? Because sometimes most people don't vote, right? Young people don't vote, right? And we need to make sure that as we get into that season, that everybody knows who they want. If you're happy with the work that President Ruto is doing, you vote for him. If you feel there's someone who can do what you want, right? Because it's always about your interests, right? is the person on top, are they serving your interest or not? So now we are going to have a look at first, let's have some clips of the conversation that took place yesterday, right? What was said, what were the question, what was the room like, right? So first, let's have a look at the conversation that was had yesterday, and then we're going to have a look at the credentials of Matiang'i. After that, then we'll have a look at the other 6 candidates, right? And what are their credentials and how long have they been doing politics, and do you feel like they are fit? Let's get this conversation going. You just tell me. I'm not, this is not a space for hatred or a space for smearing anyone. This is just a space for learning, right? And planning and saying, if we want a better country, what do we need to do? We need to be prepared. We need to actually know who are we voting in and what are they, what are their credentials, all right? Okay, without further ado, let's get into it. Okay. Let me just... Right. So let's get into it.
Yeah, but now, how do you plan to finance your campaign?
I would ask for support from friends and well-wishers like anyone does.
Campaigns.
So here, Fred Matiang'i is being asked, how does he plan to finance his campaign? Because we know financing is very, very expensive.
Yeah, but now, how do you plan to finance your campaign?
I would ask for support from friends and well-wishers like anyone does.
Campaigns are expensive in this country.
You are telling me.
You don't know. Surely, Dr. Fred, you know that.
So what are you suggesting? That we don't campaign because it's expensive?
No.
Or we don't
I'm just asking about your plan.
We don't seek leadership because it's expensive?
Not exactly. I'm just asking how you're going to finance that, because it's usually expensive.
I will do it the logical, open, transparent, and lawful way that it would be done. I'll seek support from well-wishers and donors.
Would you know how much you're worth?
How much is he worth? Do we know?
And even if I did, that is not for public consumption because I'm not a public official and you're not a commission to which I'm supposed to declare my wealth.
For sure, but it will become a very important question as soon as you declare
If
your candidature.
If you have any reason to believe that there's something that I have done wrong, our agencies are open. You can go to DCI or any of our investigators.
We can have a look. How much is he worth? Let me just type it on Google. How much is Fred? How much is he worth? 650 million? Do you think that's true? It says 650 million Kenya shillings right here. Do you think that's true? That's his true net worth? Okay, can keep going then.
Agencies and put the information there.
Integrity and the questions of the rule of law. Just before he left office, there were reports about people that were being killed and dumped at Rivayala. The count, according to the International Justice Mission, is at 36. No justice has been served on those persons. What do you know about Rivayala killings?
So the Rivayala stuff, was it? It was when he was the Interior Ministry. Was it when he was the Minister for Interior?
Because this is the first time ever I'm having a public opportunity to answer that question directly. Because I've been seeing every time people say I'm going to go into public life, people start playing a song with two stanzas, Rivayala, Ruaraka Land, and so on, and you see it repeated over and over again. I've never had an opportunity myself to publicly look the cameras in the face and say this is what it is and so on. When in 2021,
So what happened in Ribayala?
a report was published by a local media about bodies being pulled out of Ribayala, just like I saw last week and the week before. For us, we asked the Inspector General of Police, Matiang'i, what was happening at that time. We agreed that the gravity of the situation is such that the DCI himself should go to that place and find out what's happening. The DCI spent some time there with a team from the DCI. When they came back, we asked for an inquest. We demanded an inquest. At the National Security Council, we asked for an inquest. Can we go into this matter and find out what's happening? The DCI and the police told us, you know, fortunately for us, their bodies. Let us get the families to claim the bodies, then we build the stories from there. We open the file, we take statements from the families so that we understand the circumstances under which these people disappeared and the circumstances under which their bodies were found in Ribayala. By the time we were leaving government, the file was open. It was not closed at that particular time because investigations were going on. And that's why I keep saying every time, what happened with the file? I didn't live with the file. In any case, I would have nothing to do with the file as a cabinet minister. That was a police matter. And you know, our detractors or people who like to make negative claims about this are always, you know, they choose when it is convenient for them to say these things. The police service is independent. When they are doing certain things, it's dependent on the minister at other times. As a minister, I would have nothing with that investigation. I wouldn't even influence it for any particular purposes, as it were. The file was open. We didn't live with the file when we left government. So why don't we close the file and let us take action in the direction in which the investigation are pointing us? Besides, by the way, the best way to deal with this matter, in my view, is to have a public inquest so that all of us role players who were in the security sector at that point in time, we go face the inquest, and I'm ready to go before a magistrate or a judge, whoever it is going to preside over that inquest, and say what I know about it. But you see, the problem is throwing stones of convenience or political opportunity when the time is ripe. You know, say every time they say, oh, Ribayala and so on and so forth. If I was responsible for a crime that was committed by a police officer when I was Minister for Interior, then I'm responsible for all road accidents that took place, you know, when I was Minister for Interior. I'm responsible for all
so was this issue resolved? Was the issue of Ribayala, was it resolved, or was anyone arrested? Did any due process take place?
Robbery with violence cases. I'm responsible for all rape cases that happened and so on and so forth. It's just not possible, as it were. And even as we are seated here, there could be crimes that are being committed somewhere. Mm-hmm. We are not saying the minister is in charge. When the bodies were traced out there last week, I didn't hear anybody saying Kipchumba Murkomen is dumping bodies at Ribayala and so on. So the question is, things need to be addressed and dealt with in their proper context. The challenge is that we have very low level of political accountability in our country, where, you know, people say just about anything they want to say and get away with it. Right. And when they have no evidence and so on, let's have a public inquest. And I've said, in the security sector, now we are sweeping so much under the carpet. The advice that we used to get from, and I cherish that advice from senior officials in the security sector. I hope he doesn't mind me saying this. My former director of intelligence, our director of intelligence, General Kameru, and the others, don't politicize security matters. When it comes to security, this is something that unites everybody, and it's something we need to look at objectively and fairly, as it were. So if there are unresolved matters in the country, let them be investigated in a public and open manner. Right. Bodies were found in Akwari here, and some lackluster guy was arrested. Then he walked out of a police station from the middle of our capital city, and then that is it. I know the capacity of our security forces. I know the capacity of our intelligence forces. You cannot tell me that that guy walked like that into thin air and left. When our terrorists escaped from prisons here...
So what is he suggesting happened?
At Committee Maximum Prison, when I was Minister for Interior, within 72 hours, we not only had the terrorists back, we had taken all the administrative actions, including firing the Commissioner General of the Prison Service. So there are things that need to be done.
Yet, Dr. Fred, look, you said that the capacity in our security sector is extremely high, that nothing would happen without their knowledge. In fact, you said that goons cannot be planning, or people planning to have goons in protest, and they do not know. Yet, the reports came in January 2022. You left office in was it October or September 2022 after the new cabinet came in? And at that time, nobody knew what was going on. The bodies were being dumped in River Yala.
Sam, let me tell you, my friend, there are investigations that take 7 years or 8 years to complete.
No, I'm saying beforehand, as they were happening, nobody knew that something was happening at River Yala.
Well, the CID have collected reports from police officers in the region. Actually, the senior police officers who wrote statements about that particular incident, about what they knew at that point. The reason why action was not concluded, in my view, and we spoke to Kinoti about that matter, is because work was going on to piece together all those bits and pieces of it so that they would find a conclusive position on what was going to be done. And that's why the file was not closed. The question is not our knowledge or who knew what was going on at that particular time. Then the officers involved, all of them have been asked to write statements, and I believe they have information on what was going on. That's why I'm asking the question, why can't action be taken?
Okay. Now, Chris Msando was there.
So that's his rebuttal or his opinion on what happened to Rivayala. But the question is, was the investigation concluded? Was there any conclusion? Was anyone arrested? Did anything happen really? Were the perpetrators brought to justice? Because those are the questions. If we are saying that you're the guy, right? These are the questions that, of course, they loom over him, I guess.
Chris Msando was the ACT director at IBC in the lead up to 2017 election. He was killed and his body found late July. What do you know about that?
Chris Msando, right. Who, let me just... Who was he? He was an IEBC Mr. Chris Msando, IEBC ICT manager. He was the ICT manager for IEBC. And he died, was tortured and strangled to death. Jesus. Kenyan election official Chris Msando tortured to death. This was in 2022, right? So this is a question that he's being asked about, whether he knows anything about the death of Chris Msando. Let's hear what he has to say.
The incident was reported, and I know it the way you know it, that an official of IBC was killed. And the investigations were going on. We've asked questions several times about the matter. And every time the issue comes up, I keep saying, why don't we have a public inquest on this matter? I don't think that file was closed. The file is available.
This is the second time he's saying about public inquest.
Why can't information be put? If anybody has information of any kind implicating anybody, what stops them from putting the information out? What stops them from taking the information to the law enforcement agencies?
Did you pursue that? Because at that time you were acting Minister Security. From September that year, you became Substantive Cabinet Secretary for Security.
The DCI kept saying, by the way, there are so many of those murders. There is Msando, there is Jacob Juma, later on the one of 2022 of Kenei, and so on. There are those murders. When DCI tells you the file is open, they're looking for information, even the president, even if you are president yourself, there's nothing you can do. Because you see, every time you ask, it's like a bring-up system. Every time you ask the DCI, where are you with this matter? They tell you, we're investigating the matter, we are looking for some people, we have these leads, we are doing this, and so on and so forth. There's nothing you can do. You are not the investigating officer, you are the minister. So the question is, you go by what the Inspector General of Police tells you, with what the DCI tells you. And all these files, we've kept asking questions about them. Where are we with this investigation? We are looking for more information on this matter. We have these leads in this particular direction and so on. What would you do? And by the way, you can't jump the gun and go to the press and say, I'm addressing the press.
So he says that the matter was with the DCI, and the file is open, so there's no more he could ask about that. Okay. Dr. Fred Matiang'i, I have indicated to the World Bank that when my contract comes up for review, I will not renew it now that I have given my letter of departure. Oh, so currently he's at World Bank. Okay.
Indicated to the World Bank that I'm leaving. I've actually,
He's working for the World Bank right now.
when my contract comes up for review, I will not renew it. Now that I've given him my letter of departure from the bank, as it were, to come and participate in public affairs in Kenya.
Effective, your departure is effective which month?
That's between me and the bank.
Okay. Let's have a look at his credentials, right? What are his credentials in politics? So his academic background, it says he has a BEd in education. That's Bachelor's of Education, Bachelor's of Arts, right? In education in KU. He has a master's in English from the University of Nairobi. He has a PhD in communication and comparative literature, or communication and social change, from the University of Nairobi. He's a former lecturer of Egerton University. He's a former lecturer of Egerton University and the University of Nairobi. Okay, his professional career. He served as East African regional representative for the Center for International Development. I don't know whether these are true, by the way. You can correct me if they are true or not. He served as Eastern Africa regional representative for the Center for International Development, Rockefeller College of Public Affairs and Policy, SUNY. Consultant in communication and government and governance with organizations like USAID, World Bank, CEDA, UNDP, IPU, Transparency International, Commonwealth Parliamentary Association. His political career so far. He was the Cabinet Secretary for ICT between 2013 and 2015. He led Kenya in the digital migration from analog to digital TV. We all remember that. When we were supposed to move from analog to digital, everybody remembers that moment where Fred Matiang'i was the Cabinet Secretary for ICT. He strengthened nationwide ICT infrastructure. All right. He was the Cabinet Secretary for Education, Science and Technology between 2015 and 2018. We also all remember that when he cracked down on cheating in examinations, right? Cracked down on exam cheating, removed NEC board of members, shortened KCSE exams duration, banned social activity during exam period, and accelerated the result release. We all remember that his tenure as the Minister for Education, Cabinet Secretary for Interior and Coordination of National Government from 20. He started acting in 2017. It was confirmed between 2018 to 2022. He managed national security, including actions against Al-Shabaab. He chaired the National Development Implementation and Communication Cabinet Committee. He oversaw hiring of 100,000 police officers, implemented curfew, and insecure Rift Valley counties. And from the clips that we have seen, these were the questions that Sam was asking. For example, the Msando incident, the Rivayala incident, and other incidences that occurred while he was Cabinet Secretary for Interior. But we all know of his work when he was Cabinet Secretary for Education and ICT. What is his reputation according to ChatGPT, his reputation and public image, nicknamed Mr. Fix-It and Super Minister for his assertive, no-nonsense style, known for being outspoken, bold, bulldozer-like, decisive in reforms. However, seen by critics as an authoritarian, sometimes accused of heavy-handed tactics in media management and enforcement operation. Current and future ambitions. Of course, we know that he has put the bid to be the candidate for 2027. We don't know the party that he's going to take, right? So basically, those are the credentials of Dr. Fred Matiang'i, what he is known for, and what are the critics saying out there against him. He's known as no-nonsense, assertive, right? But his critics say that sometimes can come out as an authoritarian, right? All right, let's continue with other clips from that interview yesterday.
Yeah, but you see, advice does not mean the Inspector General has been told to go and kill people. I don't understand what you're
okay. So it's the same statement I read for you, that due to the imminent danger, I want to skip a few lines in saying that we will not allow demonstrations within the central business districts of Nairobi, Mombasa, and Kisumu. And he also added the Inspector General of Police has been advised accordingly. So therefore, the quelling of protests would emanate from that statement that you read.
You're just overreading this.
Is he known for quelling protests?
Because you see, at all times, the Inspector General of Police are member of the National Security Council. Everything about that is discussed at the National Security Council. In fact, the Inspector General provides a plan on what he or she would like to do. Fine, thank you.
Now, there has been conversations going on in this country. Are you running for president in 2027?
Yes. Well,
He confirms he's running.
Now working with my colleagues in the opposition, generally, and having conversations with several leaders in the country, and engaging with Kenyans from various walks of life on the future of our country, with the intention of seeing what we can do to fix some of the challenges we are facing in the country and how best we could take our country to the next level. As you may have noticed, and I think I've expressed myself elsewhere before, Kenya does not need an all-knowing savior or ruler for that particular matter. The country needs a hard-working, honest.
Francis Mwangi says yes, he will vote for him. How about you? Would you vote for him? Let's get, and why? Would give us a reason, Francis. Why would you vote for him?
Their energy and their focus in moving.
That's the conversation we are having today. Would you vote for? Who would you vote for? We are beginning with Fred, but we will go with through every other candidate that is there. Who will you vote for and why? Why would you vote for him? What about him makes you, want to vote? Because that's the conversation that we are leading in. Because we are saying in 2027, our voices will count and will matter. So who is the candidate that we are deciding, and what is the conversation that we want for 2027?
To the next level. And I would like to make that contribution with my colleagues in the opposition and all Kenyans of goodwill in a way in which we will focus on the
That's the question that we are asking today.
I don't want to pretend. I know for sure that the National Intelligence Service listens to our phone calls and so on and so forth. This happens. They have ways of collecting intelligence. So how is it?
The National Intelligence Service listens to our conversations? Hey.
If they know that Sam is recruiting goons from Roysambu to bring them to Nairobi, why wait until the goons get to Nairobi?
Tunaomba gavana kama deputy party leader wetu wa ODM.
Kutoka kaunti ya Kisii wakiwemo wazee
Guys. But what ticket will you use?
As I said, I'm now in consultations with.
He said he is not tied to any
political
political party yet.
leaders across the board. I honestly think that if I made a choice now and stuck to one political party, I will disadvantage the others with whom we are having a discussion. Definitely, as we go forward, there is not going to be a single political party that will form government. The reality is that, I mean, we chose democracy and we have so many political parties. In Kenya, we have probably over 89 political parties, and that is how Kenyans want to organize their politics for the time being. I would rather have sufficient conversations and discussions with Kenyans across the board before I finally say this is the format in which I would like to present myself to the IEBC.
There has been association of yourself with UPA party. Some have actually owned you in the Jubilee party. Where do you belong? And
you'll hear more parties. In fact, this afternoon I'm meeting another political party that is asking whether we
Some people say it's he's going to run under Uhuru. Uhuru is the one who is going to.
It is actually, let me tell you the truth, Sam. It is flattering that you have political leaders in so many political parties sitting down in their executive committees and in their groups and saying maybe Fred Matiang'i should be our candidate, even before I ask them. And they come out to asking me, can you be our candidate? I don't want to close the door on anyone. I want to have very comprehensive, inclusive, exhaustive discussions with everyone. Then we come together and work on a coalition. In any case, by the way, this game is first of all also persuading people to work together. I mean, we are better off as a country when we work together, when we coalesce our forces, when we coalesce our views and our visions and work together. To split ourselves up in so many groups, it doesn't much help, but it's always a pleasure, and frankly, I thank God that I have all these people in 7, 8, 9 parties asking me, can we work together? Can you be our candidate? And I want to put them all together.
So as you speak right now, are you a member of any political party?
Well, as I said, I will disadvantage others if I join and.
So he's not, or he is?
I'm holding discussions across the board with many.
Dr. Fred, please answer my question. Are you a member of any political party?
He does not answer.
The first call that you must answer to is, what can I do for my country?
All right.
And in my view, I think what I can do is to avail myself to make a contribution from that decision-making and consequential position in providing guidance and contributing to my country by working with others to fix the challenges that we are facing right now in the country.
Right, we'll get to the details about what will define your run shortly, but what ticket will you use?
As I said, I'm now in consultations with a number of.
I think we've heard that.
How Kenyans want to organize their politics for the time being. I would rather have sufficient conversations and discussions with Kenyans across the board before I finally say this is the format in which I would like to present myself to the IEBC.
There has been association of yourself with UPA party. Some have actually owned you in the Jubilee party. Where do you belong? And you'll hear more.
UDA party.
Parties. In fact, this afternoon they come out to ask me, can you be our candidate? I don't want to close the door. Frankly, I thank God that I have all these people in 7, 8, 9 parties asking me, can we work together? Can you be our candidate? And I want to put them all together.
So as you speak right now, are you a member of any political party?
30 or so people to his cabinet. Some of them are serving in cabinet to this day. Others have risen to other responsibilities and so on. So am I a project by dint of the fact that I served?
Oh, that was this question.
I used to tell people. Discussions across the board with many.
Dr. Fred, please answer my question. Are you a member of any political party today?
Not yet.
He said it's not yet. He's not yet a member of any political party.
That experience.
You are an Uhuru Kenyatta project.
Let me ask you, Sam. You are an intelligent person, very well educated and experienced person. What does that actually mean in practical sense? There are many things.
Let me just rewind that. Oh, it's not rewinding. Okay.
Let me ask you, Sam. You are an intelligent person, very well educated and experienced person. What does that actually mean in practical sense? There are many things that are bandied around. When I was younger, a little more impatient, I used to tell people, there are things that people tell you that when you sit back and analyze them, they wouldn't make sense even to a fool. What does that mean to be someone's project? What does that mean? It's an indelible historical fact that Uhuru Kenyatta appointed me to his cabinet, and I served in his cabinet for 10 years in 3 significant portfolios, and gave me additional responsibilities and so on. But by the way, cumulatively for the 10 years Uhuru was president, he appointed close to 30 or so people to his cabinet. Some of them are serving in cabinet to this day. Others have risen to other responsibilities and so on. So am I a project by dint of the fact that I served in Uhuru's cabinet? And if it's a question of service and so on, why are you not asking me if I'm World Bank's project? Because I've just come from the World Bank.
Have you had a conversation with the former president about your interests?
I have not asked him about whether or not I should run, but we discuss Kenyan affairs every time we have an opportunity. Like I discuss with 1,000 or thousands of other Kenyans whenever
He has not discussed with Uhuru about his aspirations to run.
The Secretary General of Jubilee Party has claimed you previously a couple of months ago, and we know there are several people that are working with you that also worked with Uhuru Kenyatta.
But Sam, yourself said a while ago that UPA has claimed me. There are several parties that are going to claim me. In an official of a party expressing themselves to say, we would like so and so to be our candidate, that is fine. As I told you, frankly, I am fairly flattered. I'm probably the only person in recent times so many parties are claiming, which is a good thing.
Even knowing that a Secretary General communicates about the position of a political party.
But those others who are claiming me are also Secretaries General of other parties.
Now, let's talk about the mobilization that we see in the country, because at the moment we're hearing conversations of President William Ruto working with Nyanza region and of course his own Rift Valley region. We have seen you that when you came home, your first stopover was in Kisii. What does that say about identity and also mobilization politically? Because this country, for several elections, has been about ethnic mobilization for politics.
Well, first of all, you know, Sam,
Do we want to change that about ethnic mobilization, right? So that we can have other forms, you know, like issues to run our political agendas, right? Like the issues that we are facing in Kenya is equal to ethnic division, right?
we chose democracy as a country. We chose democracy in the sense that it's not the best form of government, but the alternative is horrendous. What that means is that
He says democracy is not the best form of government.
whatever they choose to belong to politically, and the multiplicity of political expression and so on is good for the country, and it's very nice for all of us. When I arrived, I went home. I mean, everybody, it's common practice the world over that, you know, every one of us comes from a particular place in this world, wherever it is, whether you come from.
That he wants you to come with your own political party, strengthen your base in Kisii, then you can...
So he talks about Gachagua.
Sort of insinuating that there cannot be a competitor political party in the Mount Kenya region. How does that sit with you?
Well, you see, one thing we know, Sam, we also have to be patient and tolerant. If we are going to build our country, I believe honestly that the best way to go about things is to be patient and tolerant about people's views and aspirations and what they say. The Honorable Gachagua expressed an opinion. He did not pass a law. That was his wish.
So Gachagua was telling him to start a political party.
Or he would like the political arrangement to be done. And there's nothing wrong with it.
Do you agree with it?
There are many people who have got so many views about it. I've not sat down to discuss that, and I've not sat down to get into the details of exactly what that worldview is informed of. So it is, as you know, because you've interacted with me before, I don't like commenting on things based on what I see in the press. I mean, this is somebody accessible to me. He's someone I can talk to. I need to sit down with him, get an explanation, understand exactly what he means and what he would like to say before I comment about it. And I will also offer him my views. Because if we are going to go forward and work together, we are going to have discussions.
Yep.
It's going to be a give and take arrangement in this matter. So I wouldn't like to comment about his views and say about my views and so on when I've actually not discussed the matter with him on the basis of media commentary.
Yeah, Dr. Fred, I mean, that was actually not media commentary. It's him that said it. It's not based on any analysis. It's him saying it. By the way, what are you doing within the opposition coalition? What's the agenda there?
Ask me about what I am doing myself as Fred, because we have just begun meetings. And first of all, the first thing is to agree on a platform. Discuss and agree on a platform what we need.
So he's agreeing on how he wants to run 2027.
Various experiences and various aspirations. Some of them are forming political parties now. You are aware that Honorable Gashawa is planning to launch a political party.
Didn't he launch? Gachagua has not launched yet his political party.
Right now. So it's difficult to start
Then if James says, yes, this is the man, why? Why do you believe he is the man?
It's beginning at the moment. Elections are 25 months away from now, and even the official campaign period has not begun. This is a moment of establishment, engagement, discussion, exchanging views, trying to understand each other, build a relationship. Because you see, we are going to have to build a team, and this is not easy. This process is beginning. It's going on at the very formative level right now. So it isn't the time to start saying, this is what we are doing. What we are doing now is building relations, building an institution, getting to understand each other, sharing ideas on what needs to be done. And it takes time. It's not easy.
No, I get that. Dr. Fred, again, politics happens in reality. We've seen you. I think there was a meeting at a round table when you just had come back. Then there was a conversation in Omunyoro that you attended. After that, I think I've seen you at the Kenyatta National Hospital holding a press conference. But your colleagues in the opposition have been having several meetings. As late as, I think, is it yesterday in Narok? We've not seen you. Where are you?
Well, you see, first of all, everyone is promoting their party. I mean, I was in Thika yesterday. The day before yesterday, you didn't see my colleagues there. It doesn't mean that when you are together as a group,
Who are these colleagues?
all huddled together, you have to go to the same place together and be there. It doesn't work like that. It's not a roll call that we take to say who's where you are. This country is big. There are multiple things that have got to be done in any given day. So there are times when we will be doing different things in different places, building. In any case, by the way, if we have to cover the country, we have to move in that kind of manner. If 2 or 3 people are in Narok today, 1 or 2 others are in Nairobi meeting another group of people, or 1 or 2 others are meeting others, we will coalesce. As I said, this is building time. And building time cannot be helped by all of you huddling and going to a particular place at the same time. You can have 2 people out there and 3 people there, 1 person meeting another group of people. That's how this is working. This is a foundational time. It's a time for people to move around. The most important thing is each one of us, wherever we are, we have agreed. Let us do as much as we can to interact as widely as possible with the country, to get views from various groups, sections of society and so on, so that when we sit, we keep feeding our discussion, feeding our worldview, feeding our vision by the views we collect from the various places that we go. When campaign time begins and we are all together, you will now have a proper plan and a program that you will see. And even then, by the way, you probably see us once or twice together, all of us. In most cases, you will see 2 people there, 3 people there, and so on. That's the way to go.
How is it that them they are together? You are just by yourself?
But again, Sam, you're the one who said on Thursday we were together at Kenyatta National Hospital with...
There was a press conference.
I was there we were there the whole morning with the Honorable Kalonzo Musyoka and Eugene Wamalwa. The meeting we had
So Kalonzo and Eugene Wamalwa, are they working together with Fred?
You were not there in Narok.
But that's one incident, and I was not there in Mombasa either. And then they look around.
So Matiang'i, Kalonzo, and
It looks like you're working by yourself.
Eugene, are they working together? He doesn't know what to say.
I am not working by myself.
Yep.
Okay, he says he's not working by himself.
I'm not working. I don't know where you're going with this, but I'm not working by myself. We are working as a team. We are deployed in various areas, and everyone is working on various activities with a view to, as I said, we must have as wide conversations as possible across the country. To be able to cover the country, we can't all huddle together every time we are moving around. You'll see 2 people here, or 2 people there, or 1 person there, or 3 people that side, and so on. That is how this is going to be done. We are at this foundational moment, and we can't all keep huddling.
So he's saying he's building up to it. He's collecting his pieces and preparing, because currently there is no party. There is no. Well, he hasn't announced publicly his allies, but he has announced his intentions to run. And the question is, who will you vote for in 2027? And why? It's a conversation that we have to have, because more and more our votes matter and our votes count. And if Fred is your man, why? Why would you vote for him? As we've seen, ChatGPT says his credentials is no nonsense. He's he gets the work done. But also the critics say he can be authoritarian. So that's what ChatGPT is saying. But you, as a Kenyan who is going to vote in 2027, what are you saying about Fred Matiang'i?
And there are those that feel you are an Uhuru Kenyatta project.
Let me ask you, Sam. You are an intelligent person, very well educated and experienced person. What does that actually mean in practical sense? There are many things that are bandied around. When I was younger, a little more impatient, I used to tell people, there are things that people tell you that when you sit back and analyze them, they wouldn't make sense even to a fool. What does that mean to be someone's project? What does that mean? It's an indelible historical fact that Uhuru Kenyatta appointed me to his cabinet, and I served in his cabinet for 10 years in 3 significant portfolios, and gave me additional responsibilities and so on. But by the way, cumulatively for the 10 years Uhuru was president, he appointed close to 30 or so people to his cabinet. Some of them are serving in cabinet to this day. Others have risen to other responsibilities and so on. So am I a project by dint of the fact that I served in Uhuru's cabinet? And if it's a question of service and so on, why are you not asking me if I'm World Bank's project? Because I've just come from the World Bank. Very concerned if that happened. And if it did happen at that...
Okay. So Dennis James says, I believe in him because he doesn't want jokes. Ikifika ni kazi. But tell to use political talks to gain votes. So Dennis James is saying yeye ni mtu wa kazi. Hana jokes. Okay.
That particular time, because this is not a surprise accident that happened, as it were. This is something that ought to have been known, and I know the instruments of government myself, having worked in government before. I know the capacity of our National Intelligence Service, and so on. I'm somewhere, I don't know. I'll seek support from well-wishers and those who believe in me or believe in my leadership, and those who want to work with me.
So he's saying he'll seek support. That's how he plans to raise money. We've seen his net worth is 650 million. And we heard Jalango say somewhere that it's 1.5 billion every 3 days to run a presidential campaign.
It looks like you're working by yourself.
Why was Sam pressing him on who he's working with?
I am not working by myself.
Yep.
Let's
Campaigns are expensive in this country.
You are telling me.
You don't know. Surely, Dr. Fred.
Fine, thank you.
Now, there has been conversation hold of the office that you held at the time. Just last week, I'm sure you heard what he said in Kikuyu, that any protester approaching or any person approaching a police station, shoot them. Is this an order you'd give, whether publicly or quietly?
So he's been asked about Murkomen's comment, eh?
First of all, I don't want to pass judgment on my successors in the ministry. In fact, the challenge you usually have when you have served in government, in particular positions and so on, is to keep the discipline and the respect for your successors and those who come after you.
Yeah.
If the answer you want from me is yes or no, I wouldn't make that kind of order, or saying shoot, kill, or whatever the case may be. But you see, again, as I said, I can't pass judgment on a context on which I don't have full facts about, as it were.
He didn't give a straight answer there.
There has been conversations going on in this country. Are you running for president in 2027?
Okay, we've had that one.
Oh, wonderful, wonderful.
assure you 100%. You can trust me. I am going to spend all my time on this. I want us to see how we can.
That's what he said when he came to Kenya. That people can trust him. Do you agree?
Negative statements and so on. Because as I always tell you, my brothers and sisters, negative energy has no returns.
Yes.
Let us focus on solutions, finding solutions to our problems.
Yes.
Half of our problems have nothing to do with money. They have to do with management and leadership.
Yes.
Says our problems have to do with management and leadership.
And let us all now cross ranks, come together, focus on solutions to the problems we face.
Yes.
Not the people, not the solutions. Let's focus on solutions.
And this is after he came from World Bank, huh?
We can do as much as we want, but if we are not registering and preparing to vote, we have not succeeded.
Yes.
So the drive is we register, we vote, we prepare ourselves to participate effectively and in a quality manner in the forthcoming electoral process. Mengine tutaongea tukiwa pamoja, lakini I want to thank you very sincerely for your
That's what he said when he came to
The past and the future. Tonight we have a one-on-one interview.
when he came from World Bank, huh?
Simama kijasiri. Kura yako.
I am not working by myself.
Yeah.
Let's
He's not working by himself.
I don't know why you're going.
What do you know about Rivayala killings?
You know,
We've already addressed the Rivayala.
I'm having a.
And there are those that feel you are an Uhuru Kenyatta project.
Let me ask you something.
I think we've had a look at the main points from yesterday's explainer. Now, this is what I'm going to do because it's a good conversation, okay? And we've started with Dr. Fred Matiang'i. I'm going to go through all the candidates, okay? Or the people who until now have put forth their wish to be elected, or they have said they are going to run, okay, in 2027. And we will look at their credentials, just the way we have done for Dr. Fred Matiang'i. Okay? We will look at what have they done and what do they continue to do, and would you vote for them? Because it's an important conversation that we want to have as young Kenyans. Okay? So I would have done them, all of them, in this video, but I feel like it's a more, we need to talk, right? So I will create separate videos. So join me tomorrow. And tomorrow we'll do Rigathi Gachagua, okay? We'll look at his political career, what he has done, and what he has said, and his intentions. And do you actually believe that he will get in, and he will serve the needs of the people, okay? Then we will do the president, William Ruto, because we are assuming that he'll want to run again. What he has done and what actually people are complaining about. Okay? And would you vote for him? Are you happy with the country so far and how far we have come till now? We'll also do Salasia. We'll do Kebaso, Morara. We will do Kalonzo. We will do Raila Odinga. We'll do all the political leaders who are planning to vie for 2027 and ask ourselves, would we vote for them and why? Because it's not just about would we vote for them, it's also about why would you vote for that person, because it's an important conversation that we need to have as young Kenyans, because our votes matter and our votes count. As you have heard from Dr. Fred, he said he doesn't have an official political party yet, but he's planning to run. He's in conversations, and he says that he's ready to be trusted by Kenyans. And what all the criticisms and the praises that he's done before, let's judge him with when he gets to the seat, right? Because he's saying some of those critics that talk, some of those things that he couldn't do anything but just ask what is going on here or what is going to happen here. Anyway, I'll end it here. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for joining. Let's meet tomorrow as we discuss, would you vote for Rigathi Gachagua? Otherwise, my name is Legend, and see you in the next one.